Oh no, run everything.
Okay, let's see. My intro. Don't like that intro. We went old school with the intro, right? So, in this week's episode, I will talk about women in the military or men or whatever you want to call them, right? I call them heroes because that's what they are. These people are heroes. Some of these women are men that are, some of these women dressed as men to become heroes in the revolution for Mexico side. Some of them defied orders to do what is right, to be heroes. So no bashing, no nothing. This is straight up. These people are heroes, and there's really no one that made me want to do this or things like that. This is just something that I wanted to do because it is a very important topic that goes over a lot of things. Um, in the United States alone, there's also so much that this goes over that this talks about because Pride Month is what, next month, a couple weeks away. This is also a huge topic because it has to do with something very, very important. People get bashed all the time for being who they want to be, and I'm the kind of person that, as long as it doesn't affect my life, I don't care what you do in your life. Are you happy? Great, be happy. Are you whatever, right? Does it affect me directly? I could care less. And that's a big rule in my life, is that I could care less. As long as you are happy with who you are within reason of the law. I'm not talking about like you like to be a murderer. That's a whole different story. That might affect me. So that's a different story. But I'm talking about like in your beliefs and who you want to be. As long as you're happy, go with it. So let's begin. Like I said, it's almost Pride Month. This is very fitting. So, but like always, let's begin with what's in the news. So far in the U.S., there's really nothing good going on. We went from one of the top countries in the world to a joke, thanks to the Cheeto in charge. The Pope passed away, and as a Catholic, that is horrible news because it's the Pope. He was one of the greatest popes to date. He made a lot of great decisions. He brought in anime into Catholicism. He created a mascot for them. He was very forthright on everything. He accepted everyone. He even accepted science into religion. He was an amazing pope. Again, I'm not a practicing Catholic. I'm Catholic by religion, by culture, things like that, but not like practicing. So, but still, it's a big effect. He made a lot of great changes to the diocese to date, but the new pope might be on that same level. He doesn't like Trumps. Hey, already a plus in a lot of people's book. And one of the biggest jokes going around right now is, "Don't go meet JD Vance." Or he's from Chicago too. So the biggest joke going right now is from the old 1991 Saturday Night Live skit with Chris Farley. Oh man, I think Dan Aykroyd might be in it. I know Michael Myers is in it. There's a lot of big actors that are in it, and they play the Chicago's Bear fans, and they always go, "Duh, Bears." And now everyone's going, "Duh, Pope." It's the biggest joke around. And everyone's like, "It's from that old SNL thing." No, it's not old. It's from 1991. That makes me feel old, so don't say it's old. So, but on a better note, Mexico is thriving and has recently stated it is building a passageway that bypasses the Panama Canal, which the U.S. owns or leases or whatever. So that's going to save a lot of money for every country that's going to go through there because they're not going to have to go all the way down to the Panama Canal. They're just going to go straight through Mexico and onto the other side. And that's going to save billions in shippers' fees. But guess what? That cuts out the United States. They're also building a light rail system. They're advancing in electrical cars. Businesses are flocking to set up headquarters in Mexico at an alarming rate. Like they're just flocking over there. Everyone wants to go to Mexico right now. So it used to be the States, but now it's Mexico. I don't know how that happened, but it happened so much that my dad called me and he was like, "Hey, you can get a dual citizenship, right? I'm Mexican. You're not. You're born over there. You qualify for dual citizenship." So that's something to think about. You know what I mean? I've been American my whole life, Mexican American, Mexican first, Mexican by blood, American by national or where I live. I guess I don't know how to say that, but yeah. So been thinking about it. Probably not going to do it. Probably going to do it. Who knows? I'll look into the process and keep y'all updated. But anyways, let's start off with Petra Herrera, also known as Pedro Herrera. She was known as one of the fiercest soldiers that Mexico has ever had. One of the most aggressive fighters to grace the battlefield, she had a reputation of being the best commanders one of the best commanders. She was assigned to projects such as destroying bridges and commanding forces up to 200 strong. Once she became so well known as Petra Herrera, she revealed her true identity to any other woman that would have been an immediate discredit. I wrote that all as one sentence, so hold on, let me reverse here. Once she became so well known as Petra Herrera, she revealed her true identity. To any other woman in the war at the time, that would have been an immediate discreditation to any of her achievements. But she had so many notable victories and successes that it did not matter. Her most notable fight was the Battle of Torreon. In this battle, she fought alongside 400 other women. She had great success in this battle that she was described as the one that took Torreon. She turned off the lights when they entered the city. After this, the fighting didn't stop. She led her own troop of anywhere between 25 to 1,000 other women. The accounts vary widely, so it could have been 25 other women up to 1,000 other women that joined her in fight. She was never promoted to general, but she was promoted to colonel by General Castro. When she was ordered to disband her group, she became a spy at a bar Jimenez, where she unfortunately passed due to a gunfight that broke out. So it was just random senseless violence in a bar. Bar fight broke out, started shooting, she died. Horrible, right? But she was a hero, though. She proved that women could be just as good, if not better, on the battlefield. So that was a short one, right? So she joined the military and then changed her name to Pedro and became a great leader in the fight, in the war efforts during the revolution. Let's move on to the next one. Now, this one's not the same as the last one. This one's just the woman that was joining the war. The next prominent woman on this list is Beatriz Gonzalez Ortega. Now, she is not the same as the one mentioned above. She was a nurse, the ultimate nurse, some would say. Following the Villistas, in other words, Pancho Villa's group, Revolutionary Army, she was their nurse to the wounded. Even though she was on Pancho Villa's side, she treated all soldiers the same that came through the camp. Pancho Villa's view on this was not good. He did not like the fact that she was treating the federales and the revolutionaries. Pancho Villa believed that any and all prisoners of war should be executed. So what did she do when she heard about this? She burned their uniforms and refused to tell Pancho Villa who was who. So she decided, like, you know what? They're under my care. You are not going to hurt these men. I am their nurse. For her noble actions, she was whipped and her life was threatened. So she was beaten for saving lives, but she refused to give up these men. She was like, no, you can do whatever you want to me. They're under my care. They're my, I'm protecting these people. That takes a lot of guts. That takes a lot of strong will. Though her acts were noble, they were not seen as such. Like I said, some people thought that she was doing a disservice to the revolution by protecting and taking care of the federales, the army, the Mexican army. Her ability to see past the uniform is what it means to be a caregiver. She sacrificed a lot to protect the wounded. Her compassion and strength in saving human life is inspiring. She is respected to this day not only as a nurse for her part in the war, but for her integrity and strength. So she was everything. She made sure no one got hurt. That's a lot, because the second I get beat, no, it's that guy right there. I'm sorry. It was him. He did it. I'm weak. Don't talk to me like that. But she took that, she took a beating to save lives. Also, side note, on the different apps, I'm going to be posting the link for studio chat. So in other words, if you want to be an audience member, you can come and join, comment, whatever. And I will be able to talk to you here. Again, you can also find me on Twitch and YouTube. Got to plug myself everywhere. And there's also a new link that I created. I got to interject my stuff. You know what I mean? There's a new link that I created that shows you my linked profile, has all my stuff attached to it. And there's a new one called Gamer Support. So it's kind of like that app that you download to play video games and get paid for it. It's kind of like that. You join me on there, play some of the games that I promote. And I will not promote anything that I do not do myself. So I will be on there too, playing some of these games and earning points for myself. Because, hey, anytime you download something for me, it gives me a little bit, so you don't got to pay me. This gig does not pay. This is all a hobby. I love teaching you about the Hispanic culture. Also on Instagram, if you check under my name for AI chatbots that I created, I have some for poetry, and I love poetry. I write my own poetry too. I have some there's one that's me that creates episodes for podcasts that helps you talk, that teaches you about the history the same way I do. There's one that's called Scribe. That one just basically can make you scripts for you, like help you come up with ideas for scripts. And then there's an ancient Aztec warrior who tells you about the knowledge in the future. You know, then there's like La Llorona, El Silbón, and Quetzalcoatl, a mystic god who tells you the future. Things like that. I got some cool ones that I created, and I'm constantly creating new ones. I want to create up my own pantheon of AI bots for this because it's gonna be awesome. And there's a new feature on the chat bots, so you can actually group chat bots together to create a group message with these chatbots. So I'm creating two new ones for El Cadejo, which is El Cadejo Blanco and El Cadejo Negro, which is the two wolves that war within you, or the two dogs that war within you, one evil, one good, and they will guide you along the way. And I'm going to create one, and they're supposed to be put in a group chat. So if you do this, put them together, and let's see what happens. I haven't created it yet. It's next on my project list. And also on my Instagram, I'm making art and poetry, things like that. But I'm also drawing. Well, I'm practicing drawing. Right now I'm sketching. I'm taking pictures of people and I'm running them through AI so I can create a simpler image. And I'm just drawing over that and making my own thing and sending it to various creators that either have helped me or that I want to help me. You know, it's kind of my way of like, hey, I've noticed you're a great creator. Come be on the show. And one of them is, I don't want to say who I'm pushing for, but I got a fan as a guest host, hopefully coming soon, but they had a family emergency. They're dealing with that. That's perfectly fine. I'm not going to push anybody for that, because if you are going to come onto my show, onto the podcast here, and you have a family emergency, feel free to bail at any given second off of what I'm doing, because I am not that important. This is just a historical reference of history, mythology, cryptozoology, myths, legends, all that stuff to history about the culture of being Hispanic. And not just Mexico, you know, Haitian, anything worse. Basically, if Spain took over, you're part of my culture. And I'm teaching about it all. And the other one is somebody who has a decent following. And I'm trying to get them on here. Communication's a little light because, if I'm not mistaken, I saw one of their posts that said they were recently in between moves. So I'm taking my time with it. I'm not pushing like, hey, you need to answer. No. I'm taking my time. I want to do this right. I like getting people on here to express their opinions on stuff like that. And if you decide to join, the format is way different. I will let you decide what you want to talk about. So if you want to talk about true crime, if you want to talk about mythology, if you want to talk about history, you tell me what you want to talk about ahead of time. And I will do all the research I can do. And you teach me, and I will, put in my input on what I know from what I learned. And that's how it's worked with Shining Nathan, Latinos Against Spooky Shit, Kukui Paranormal, who is now, that's a whole different story. I still talk to one of them. I still talk, everyone that's been a part of my podcast, I still reach out to them and I talk to them in some capacity. Whether it's by constantly liking their videos and watching their stuff and promoting them and helping them out, to asking for advice, because this is, I don't know why, but like I keep in touch with people, which is amazing, because two of the creators that I've talked to are way bigger than I'll ever imagine being, and they still answer my messages every now and then. The only ones I haven't talked to are the Primos podcast, which I want to reach out to him, see how he's doing. He's from Texas. He's literally up the block from where I am. From where I live, he's one city over. So I don't know why I haven't reached out to him. I could probably reach out to him, probably set something up in person. So that'd be kind of cool. But until then, what? That's a whole different story. Anyways, back to the episode. Little side tangent on what I'm doing. How long have I been recording? I don't even know how long. It doesn't say. It don't say. Yeah, it doesn't say. Yeah, that's my brand. That's my stuff. Oh, okay, cool. You're not going to tell me. It's probably up here hidden where I can't see it. Anyways, it's back to the episode. So the next woman on this list is Dolores Jimenez. Dolores Jimenez y Muro is her full name. Born in 1848 in Aguascalientes, she would become one of the most influential soldaderas in the Mexican Revolution. Even though she never set foot on the battlefield, it was her ability to write that made her a great soldier. Her influence in the war and her political influence, and after the war, changed the way things were done. Before the war, she was a school teacher. She used her writing to become an editor for La Mujer Mexicana, a left-wing organization publication. Afterwards, she would become president of Las Hijas de Cuauhtémoc, a group that wanted social reform and wanted to overthrow President Diaz of the time. While being involved with this group, she would be arrested. While in jail, she would become more active in political views. While in jail, the the revolution had just begun, and she founded the group called Regeneración y Concordia. As the leader of this group, her goal was to overthrow the new president, Madero, and also have a social reform in Mexico. To do this, there needed to be better wages, better working conditions, and educational reform. She was a strong component for this with her background as a teacher. It helped push all that stuff. She wanted a decentralized educational system that would allow schools to have the attention they needed, the independent attention they needed to further, your education and become better and do better, right? Kind of like America's No Child Left Behind program. She also drafted a reform for better housing for the poor. Her teachings and writings caught the attention of none other than Emiliano Zapata, who was so impressed with her, so much so that he adopted some of her teachings and included them into his beliefs. So he took some of her teachings and put it with his information, the way he viewed things, and pushed it that way, which led to a lot of things changing in Mexico. Zapata asked her to join his military as a colonel, where she would serve until Zapata's untimely death in 1919 at the hands of assassins. He was assassinated. She lived the rest of her life in Mexico City until passing in 1925. So, again, these are women/men, whatever, that changed history by just being who they were and believing in what they wanted to believe in. They weren't being forced into anything. Their beliefs were strong enough to be like, this is what needs to happen. And they changed the world. They changed Mexico. Next up is Angel Jimenez. So her name is Angela. Her moniker is Angel Jimenez. Born in 1925 in Jalapa de Marquez, Oaxaca, she would become one of the most formidable soldiers in the war. So we have fearsome, formidable. These are just great words for women of power. When she was 15, she witnessed the tragic death of her sister. When a federale entered their home looking for rebels, he proceeded to try again, or not again, but this is a warning, because what I'm about to say is triggering. You've been warned. Next statement is triggering. Please, if you are sensitive to certain things, don't listen to the next sentence. This next sentence is just, skip ahead like 20 seconds. So let's begin. Let's finish with this sentence, okay? Entered their home looking for rebels. He proceeded to try and rape her. She managed to get his gun and shoot him dead before turning the gun on herself. Having seen this event led her on a path to fight the federales. She joined the rebel forces as a male. She joined with a mission of justice for her country and for those who could not fend for themselves. So at this point, she changes her name to Angel. In the army, she was a flag bearer, a demolitions expert, and a spy, and made sure the soldiers never went hungry. So she was everything they could be. So she during wartime, she took the flag, and she was a demolitions expert. She was a spy, and she took care of them. She fed them. That's a badass right there. She was active in the war, and her efforts made a difference. Her disguise was not the best. Her general knew that her true identity, which led to her not getting the recognition she deserved. So she just joined, no real disguise, not like Mulan. She most likely looked like a woman. They're like, okay, your name's not Angel. It's probably Angela. You know what I mean? So what did that lead to? She wasn't getting the recognition she deserved. She would eventually become lieutenant. She used her gender to her advantage sometimes, though. So her not being completely a man or not looking completely like a man came to her advantage. When she was captured and placed in prison, she dressed as a woman and was released from prison. So she got captured. She got thrown in the stockades along with the other soldiers. She shed her disguise like, I'm a woman. Boom, they let her go like, oh, you're not supposed to be here. What are you doing? You're a woman in the war. Get out of here. And they sent her on her way. And then when she left, she made a plan to rescue the other soldiers, to free them from the prison, from the stockade, wherever they were at. That she decided to free them. And she did. She was successful in her efforts. On another occasion, she escaped prison and execution. So she got caught again and was going to be executed. And again, she dressed like a woman and just walked out. Beyond her efforts on the battlefield, she was also known as an advocate for women soldiers, stating that she did not need the body of a man to be a brave soldier. Again, yeah, it was like, look, I may not be a man, but guess what? I've escaped prison, saved a bunch of people. Twice I saved myself and I saved a bunch of people. I'm a demos expert. What are y'all gonna do without me? Like, I would have been like, y'all need me. But anyways, that's great. The brave soldier. That's bravery beyond bravery. Now the last one is the longest one that I wrote about, and this one is an amazing story. Oh my God, I did something. Okay. The last soldier from the revolution on this list is a complicated one. So bear with me on this one. Because these names, man, some of these Hispanic names really get to me. Y'all know this already, right? Born Malicuas Amelia de Jesus Robles Avila in 1889. That is a Mexican name. Maliquis, Malaquuias, Amelia de Jesus Robles Avila was born in 1889 in Xochipala, Guerrero, to parents Casimiro Robles and Josefa Avila. She/he was the youngest of three children. Now, the she/he thing was because of the way she felt growing up or the way he felt growing up. It gets complicated. Like I said, this was complicated, so I'm going to be switching between she, he, and them the entire time. But it's talking about one person. She was the youngest of three children. This person came from money with parents that owned and operated a distillery. Later receiving an education from the Society of the Daughters of Mary of the Miraculous Medal, a congregation dedicated to the spiritual reform of young women or young girls. She was taught how to cook, sew, and iron, but preferred more traditionally male activities such as lassoing, horse riding, and marksmanship, and roping, which is lassoing. So she was raised as a girl, but she gravitated more for male dominated activities. After her father died, her mother remarried and had three more children whom she did not get along with. Reportedly jailed for killing her half brother. And I said reportedly because there's no evidence of this, but this is, it's part of her story that she killed one of her brothers because they just didn't get along. She didn't like, I guess, her step parents. In 1912, she joined the revolution under Zapata, not because of the beliefs of the war, but because it offered a freedom from her current lifestyle, because it was a very religious, very, this is your girl, you have to be a girl situation. That's not what she felt like, though. At the time, soldiers referred to her as La Güera Amelia, because that was her name, La Güera, the white Amelia. However, Robles began dressing as a man and took the name Emilio and would insist that the other soldiers called her a man, called her a him, And she's like, no, don't call me she, I'm he. And how would she insist upon this? At gunpoint. That is baller as hell. That is gangster. It's basically, you gonna call me a man or I'm gonna put two in your head. That's how she was like, you know what? I'm not dealing with this crap. That's kind of gangster. That's what I'm saying. These people, like anything that I'm talking about this one, they are not he, she, they, them, whatever, right? They are heroes that fought for what they believed in. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you do you're happy. Hey, it don't bother me. You don't got to put a gun to my head. You want me to call you, man? Listen, dude, get that shit out of my face. I will quickly switch up on you. Be like, listen, dude, get that out of my face. You don't got to do that to me. I respect you. Anyways, back to my story here. Robles quickly rose through the ranks, achieving the rank of colonel with participations in 70 plus battles. Being respected by fellow soldiers and commanding a troops of up to 1,000 men. He was a skilled marksmanship. See, now I'm switching over to he, right? He was a skilled marksman and a fearless soldier. Like mentioned above, this was not the only woman to join the war as a man. There was Petra Herrera, who seized Torreon, the first one we talked about, in 1914, was known as Pedro Herrera. Angela Jimenez, who fought as a Zapatista, was known as Angel Jimenez. The difference, though, is that he embraced his male persona. So once he decided he was a man and he changed himself to this, he stayed as a man until the age of 95 after the war in 1984. Even managing to change records to reflect his identity. So sometime during the war, he got a hold of records and be like, you know what? This is female. Let's erase the first F, right? Let's erase the FE and change it to male. Or in Mexico, it would have been mujer, varón, niña, niño, whatever, right? They changed letters, right? They changed it around that they were a man. I'm thinking way too much into it. After the war, he fought in the Agua Prieta revolt, which brought an end to Venustiano Carranza. Settling in Iguala, he was later attacked by a group of men that wanted to prove that he was indeed a woman. So he defended himself and killed two of them. So this was a revolutionary hero. This person was a certified badass. A group of people came up and attacked him and like, you know what? You're not really a him. You're a her. And we're going to prove it right now. Killed both of them. Killed two of them. Like, nah. This man just shot you. That's gangster. But killed somebody, so went to jail. Once he got out of jail in the 30s, he met and married Angela Torres and settled into civilian life, later adopting Regula Robles Torres, becoming a political activist, joining the Socialist Party and the League of Agrarian Communities. But something was still not right. They were not receiving the recognition for his efforts as a revolutionary leader. So after all this, the government and people still refuse to be like, you're a badass, you're a hero, you fought for us. No, they refused to admit this. Determined to get his recognition he deserved, he received his medical records proving that he had taken 6 bullets to show that he was a veteran and a hero. In 1955, he began the process of changing his service files to his identity, including his false birth records. So, in 1955, he began a process to change all his records. Like, look, y'all marked it as wrong. This is the correct one. I'm really a guy. By his 80s, when he was 80 years old, he finally received the recognition as a veteran of the Revolutionary. After that, he received the Legionnaire of Honor of the Mexican Army, being recognized by 3 presidents as an outstanding hero. Yet there are some that still refuse to recognize his achievements. His childhood home became a museum to his accomplishments. So that's amazing, right? So after all that stuff, he finally got his recognition. To this day, there's probably some people who still like, nah, that was a woman, blah, 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 whatever, right? No. Okay, you can say whatever you want, but are you a hero? Did you take 6 shots? Did you command 1,000 men and women to fight for you and alongside you and gain their respect? No, your opinion don't mean squat at that point, because this person was a hero, a war hero. So give credit where credit is due, right? So let's do a recap. To end this episode, let's recap. We spoke over a few women that went to great lengths to make a difference that most men could never do. They changed their identities to help in a cause greater than themselves. Some risked their lives, as the nurse, for both sides to heal them. She risked her life to make sure everyone made it out that came across her camp. Some risked their lives, while others did things for themselves to prove to the world who they were, and in the process changed everything, changed a country. So no matter who you are, remember that even an individual can inspire the change needed to change a country, can change everything around you. All you need is the courage to do it. Hint, hint, this also goes for what's going on in our current political climate in the States. It's time for a change. No matter who you are, you can inspire that change. And that's what I'm hoping to do here too. This is a great episode for Pride Month that's coming up and everything that's going on right now in the world. So please, if you know, keep up the protests, keep up the meetings, keep up the calls to action. And I got to plug myself again. This call to action is like, follow, subscribe everywhere. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, which I haven't posted on YouTube. I'm going to post tomorrow on YouTube. The podcast episodes, as soon as they go up live on Spotify, they go live on YouTube, but they're just audio recordings. I post the videos later. So remember that. So again, with that being said, stay spooky, everyone. And until next time, later. I wonder how long this is. Exit out. Oh, 33 minutes. I'm 10 minutes short. This is a small episode. So next week's episode will be longer. And I am going to do one next week because I took 3 weeks off. So I'm putting out episodes back to back this time. And that's it. So yeah, find me on Riverside, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, Facebook, and other miscellaneous, random things. I'm always under Joe Rios 28. Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff. Later, guys. Sorry about that. And with this episode, I'm not going to be doing my usual AI stuff. If I post anything on here, if I do the clips like I always do, it's going to be using their pictures, their actual historical references, because I don't need to do AI stuff for this one. In the last episode, I haven't posted those clips simply because I had a struggle because I wanted to be like, oh, maybe I should do AI. Maybe I should post the real stuff, but it was over, Sicario. So I don't want to offend anybody because I do respect a lot of cartels because I don't want them coming after me. I am on the side of one of them. Not a member, a side of. I believe a lot in what El Chapo Guzman did because I read about a lot of his stuff and how he basically considers himself a farmer. Come on, drugs, not really a farm. But he would give to the poor, things like that. He kept all the other cartels in check. Yeah, things were a lot better when he was in power, but that doesn't last forever, especially in that business. But yeah, so again, I'm not on any side. I'm just, his ideologies is what I side with more. He doesn't consider himself a murderer, even though he. Again, I'm not going to go on the side tangent right now. I'll do that another day. I'll see you guys later. Stay spooky, everybody. For the second time, let's end this now. Later.